Hey everyone, welcome to the video today. It is January 7th, 2020, and I've got a lot to talk about here. I am going to try and keep this, rather short and sweet. Just kind of talking about what happened yesterday, what's actually happened ever since the new year, and talk about a couple scenarios. I'm about to show my chart here, but before I do, I just want to let you know that you know I've got two different scenarios that I'm paying attention to, and just because one scenario might be super bullish, one scenario might be super bearish, does not necessarily mean that that I'm expecting this to go in one direction or the other. It simply means that I have a path to two different resolutions, and there's a couple things that I'm going to be keeping an eye on for a move to one side or a move to the other. I'm going to try and talk through those with you. But then, at the end of the day, trading is all about adapting, knowing when you're wrong, and in this case, there are some things that have happened, and sort of invalidated what my thoughts were yesterday, and I kind of want to talk about those and basically make a slight adjustment to what I was discussing, and maybe talk about where we could be seeing the first half of 2020 go. All right, so let's go ahead and move right into the chart. All right, so I've got two scenarios here that I have in my sights. I've got my white count, which is identified by the A, B, and a C up here somewhere, and then followed by a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, which would take us down to about 5,000. I've also got my green count, which is, in my opinion, the green count is something that is starting to become more and more realistic, in my opinion, based on what happened yesterday. And I want to talk about this because yesterday, when I was doing my video update, was talking about a rejection that we had. Let me move down to a 1 hour time frame here, just to kind of show you this a little bit. We saw this spike up here, and what it looked like was appearing at the time, and of course things change. It looked like what we were creating was a little bit of a diamond pattern, where we have this pattern here, and then we've got this, where we are creating a little bit of a diamond top. Now, obviously that broke to the upside, so that was not what we were looking at all. And so, I was talking about this, and I had a short up here, which I did close that short in profit. So that actually ended up working out. I did not long this, though. I did not long this move up here. Of course, it would have been great if I did, but I did not. I did not long this move up here. Caught a short at $8,002 based on some of the suggestions and some of the analysis that Lilo put on our Discord server yesterday. And I've since exited that short at $8,002. I exited it right around this cluster right here. Of course, I could have got out, way down here in the 77.50 range, but, nonetheless, that has come and gone. I want to pull up our moving averages here just to kind of show what's happening. I'm going to go to a 2 hour time frame just to kind of take a look at these moving averages. Again, I'm looking at lower time frames for the time being. We haven't tested the 21 exponential on the 2 hour. We haven't tested, anywhere near the 21 exponential on the 3 hour. I do have a bias that we probably are going to come back down here and retest this, but it may take the next, maybe 2 or 3 days to get there. It may happen really fast. We may not get down here at all. But this line that I've outlined here with this green arrow. I've got one to the left and I've got one to the right. I want to focus on this. I'm actually going to move to a 12-hour time frame and go back out here and take a look from a much higher time frame, just to kind of take a look and see what we've got happening here. So back here we had resistance, and that became support, and then we sprung to the upside. All right, so what I think may actually be happening, in this case, we had a spring to the downside and it came back up, and down here, we had a spring to the downside and we came back up, and then, we had a move to the upside, and then we came back down and tested this as support. So what potentially could be happening here, we could be seeing this move go to the upside, at least on the 12-hour time frame. We're sitting right here at the 200 moving average. So right here at the 200, we haven't moved above it. And to be fair, we haven't closed a 12-hour candle above this 200 moving average on the 12-hour time frame since back here in September. We had a large wick, crazy rejection off of that, but we're closing very close to it, very close to us closing above this, which is pretty interesting to me that we could potentially be seeing a move to the upside. Now, this green count, this is my bullish scenario, which would take us all the way to April, where we'd be looking, somewhere around, 12 to 13,000, maybe, creating a little bit of a cup here to then create a handle and then a move to the upside, because a cup and handle can be seen as a continuation pattern. So if what we are seeing, and I'm saying if with a large disclaimer of if there, if we are seeing a little bit of a cup here, this could happen and we're going to create a handle and then we see another move to the upside, and it would be pretty significant, extremely bullish if this were the case. What I think is probably going to happen, moving back down to a 2-hour time frame, what is probably going to happen is we are going to see a move here to the upside. I'm not sure if we're going to get to 8,400, or at this case, maybe we get all the way up to 8,800. We're just going to have to wait and see. My white count is calling for an ABC correction. My green count is from down here at the bottom to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if this is a 1, 2, 3, then basically what we are in right now is basically our 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to be putting in this extended fifth, which would get us all the way up here to 8,800 to 8,850. If we break this trend line and close above this trend line, it's extremely bullish. Now, I say this with a big if, right? I talked a lot about my stochastics and a lot about my trading strategy yesterday. And, my trading strategy is basically I try not to buy things if they are too overbought. And right now, everything is super overbought. It's going to take some time for these things to reset. Now, the hourly, interesting enough, the hourly has been creating a little bit of a flag in itself. So, we can see this. We have a higher low, and then here on the stochastics, from the top end, we have a lower high, a lower high, a lower high. So we are in, as far as the hourly is concerned, we are contracting here and we are about ready to enter an expansionary phase. And, based on this moving from down here on our lows, back when the price was very low, it is very likely that this will break to the upside. Our 12-hour is the highest that it's been in a long, long time. So if we take a look at this, right now we're sitting here at about 89 on our 12-hour. And let's just take a look and see the last time the 12-hour was this high. So the previous time was back here, was only at 78. The previous 12-hour was back here, which is still lower at about 80. We haven't seen the 12-hour, and let me just pull just the 12-hour in here so that we can keep an eye on this. All right, so I've got the 12-hour and the hourly on here. I just want to really focus on this 12-hour, and the last time that this 12-hour was this high, it was right here. The last time the 12-hour was this high, it got to about 92, and that's when Bitcoin was all the way up here at its at the peak of the channel up here at about 12,300. So we are, we're very high on our stochastics. It leads me to believe that we do potentially have fuel to go down to these lower targets. Is it going to go down there? That's another question. A lot of people are saying that, we're done correcting and that we are just going full bullish. A lot of people are being super bullish right now, and that is a little scary for me. But while everybody is still bullish, I'll go ahead and let this ride up. It is very possible this goes all the way up to 8,500. It's possible it comes all the way up here to 8,800. I do think that there is a likelihood that we're going to be in this channel between this white trend line and the red trend line for a while. But if we start closing on the 12-hour above this 200, that's extremely bullish for me. I'm looking for buying pullbacks on this because the green count it is extremely bullish. And all of these targets, this 1, this 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5, are all technical based on projections on this first 1, 2, which it could be a 1, 2, it could be an AB, but this roadmap here is all based on technical targets based on just this first move right here. So take that with a grain of salt. Take a look at all of the stochastics, the RSI, everything is very overbought right now, unless you're looking at a very high time frame. So if I go to a weekly time frame, let's take a look and see what things look like on a weekly time frame, because it's very interesting down here. Take a look at the green stochastic that we have on here. What we've got, let me just remove the 12-hour and pull the K and the D on here. So we do have bullish divergence on the weekly stochastics. We crossed bullish basically last week. We're currently in the January 6th week, but last week we crossed bullish on this, and we are attempting to break into the neutral zone and move our way up. Now, the last time we did this was in February. It was in February of 2019, and really April didn't hit until we were all the way up here, right? So very, very different metrics from a weekly stochastic compared to what we were looking at back in April. So this could be seen as the fuel for the long-term expansionary phase to the upside. We have been correcting for a long, long time, and now it looks as though we are creating some bullish divergence on a weekly time frame. Very possible that we are going to see this move to the upside, and it could be happening, in the next few weeks. Now, that doesn't mean the price isn't going to go down. That doesn't mean that the price has to go up. I'm simply saying that I'm looking at all of these and seeing a lot of confluence, and I do want to focus one more thing on this white trend line here. And I did see a couple other YouTubers also talking about this, but I want to take it back a bit all the way over here. So this became our support back here on September 29th. It was also support back here on September 26th, and you could also say that it was support back here on October the 6th. We pushed down below it into, at the time, a liquidity pool. So basically it was pushing into demand. So we pushed into demand down here, and then we saw the move to the upside. So this is our liquidity pool. I like to use blue for my liquidity pool. So we've got liquidity pool here to the downside, and then we went into supply on the upside, which caused this huge wick up here. So as far as our newfound resistance, this is going to obviously be the next area that we're going to be looking for resistance to the upside, assuming that we get up this high. Again, I'm going to mark this with a red color. Keep an eye on that, because as we move to the upside, this is going to be something to be paid close attention to, and likely this is going to be down to this point. So I'm pulling from this pivot right here and this pivot up here. This is going to be the area that's going to be significant resistance to the upside, and it just happens to be this target up here is very close to it right here at about 9,500. So if we do see that move to the upside, I would say that a correction does happen there, and then we're going to see another move to the upside back into it. Then this will now become a liquidity pool or demand. If we are to break to the upside, this is going to be demand and cause that next push to the upside. But again, we had support, 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 liquidity pool, and then we had a spring off of this. And then we broke through it, and it was resistance, 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 and we just pushed through it. Okay, so this is important. Again, yesterday on the video, I was talking about the rejection that we had here. We pushed up above this resistance level, and then we had a little bit of a front run here for support. It wouldn't surprise me one bit, because these things take time. It wouldn't surprise me one bit for this to do a little bit of an A and a B and a C to come down here, and that would allow this moving average to kind of level itself off, kind of reset a little bit, and then we have this retest in this area right here before we see that move again to the upside. So being patient, I do have some bids on the 3-hour 21 exponential moving average, and as that moving average moves up, I will continue to raise my bids as the price just continues to consolidate up here. We are at a critical area of resistance, which I'm a little apprehensive on creating any long positions. I'm in all of my spot positions right now. And I would say that it is possible if we move down, we can definitely move up here to this 8,400 level. 8,400 is very possible. It is also quite possible we go up to 8,800. So these two levels are going to be very important for us. If we break through this red area, which we are consolidating right below it, we're not getting a strong rejection off of it. That is bullish for me. Bullish for me is a consolidation right here below it, and we're trying to push up into it again. It's still very possible that we move up here to 8,400, potentially up here to 8,800. I'd just be very careful shorting. I've had some success shorting. Of course, I already mentioned I shorted 8,000 and I closed that already. But again, taking a look at this, we have our move. And here, let me do this in a different aspect so I can show you exactly how I do this. So I've got down here, we have our first move, and then we're going to come down here for our second move. Okay. So we're sitting right here in no man's land. There's really not a whole lot here aside from there being prior resistance at this level, which we, of course, as I mentioned, we've broken up above. We have resistance at this level, which we have met. But as far as algo targets go, first algo target was 8,030 or so. But from this move, from a first move and a second move, we're going to be looking for a move to either the 618, which we've passed. Then we're going to be looking for a move up here to the 100, which is at 81.45 or so. That's taking us right into this cluster right here. If we move above that, the next target is going to be up here at about 84.50. This is going to be valid for an A, B, C correction. If we're going to have a 1, 2, 3, we have to move up here to about almost 8,900 to 9,000. We have to move up here to 8,900 or 9,000 for this to be a 1, 2, 3. And then we can come down and consolidate for a 4, and then we see the move up to the 5. And what that would then be, and not to create too much confusion, but what we basically had, if that happens, is we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 1, and an ABC into the 2, and then we have, basically another 5 into this 3, and then a 3 wave into the 4, and then another 5 wave into the 5. So we have a 5, 3, 5, 3, 5 to get us all the way up here. Very possible this is just a 5, 3, 5, and then we get a truncation, and then we stop here at an ABC correction and we move down. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens there. Yeah, so just be very careful. Just because all of your short-term stochastics are all overbought right now. That doesn't mean that the price has to reject here, but there could still be some fuel up to 81.50, up to 8,400, potentially up to 8,800. But now I'm saying if we do break through 8,400, my bias is going to be extremely bullish, especially if we start consolidating up here at this green trend line, which if I move back out, what we can see is this trend line here has been holding for a long time. If we start consolidating up here for more than a day or two, I say that we're going to break above this. If we start consolidating above this, we're definitely going to be moving to the upside, and I'm going to be looking for this green trend line to be support on any move or corrections to the downside. And of course, as time goes by, this trend line will move a little lower. So it's perfectly acceptable to think that we could, if we move all the way up here to 9,000 or 9,400, perfectly acceptable to think we can still move down to 8,000 to 7,900. Perfectly acceptable to think that that can actually happen. So that's what I've got right now. I'm not going to be getting super bullish right now, even though I have this on my chart taking us back up to our previous 2018 highs, potentially by May or June. Not going to be getting super bullish, but this is a roadmap that I am going to be paying attention to if it does happen. I'm still looking for potential rejection up here at 8,400, but how deep that goes, that I'm not sure of. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Well, guys, I gotta say, thanks for watching. I know we had good viewership on this live stream. If you've got any help or anything from this, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I do appreciate you watching the video today. It helps it be a little bit more worth my time. But yeah, like, subscribe, share. Enable alerts, all that stuff, and then of course we do have the free to use Discord for collaboration and communication. If you'd like an invite to that, just throw in a comment, and I will, I'll be happy to get you an invite to that. But wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening.